The movie begins with a boy named Brent driving a car, with his father accompanying him. They are having a conversation when suddenly, a bloodied man stumbles onto the road in front of their car. As they try to avoid him, their car crashes into a tree. Brent's father dies on the spot. 6 months later, Brent is shown struggling with depression due to his father's death. He blames himself for the accident and begins using drugs to cope. He also believes he is responsible for his father's death. Brent always wears a chain around his neck with a razor blade attached to it, which he uses to cut himself as a form of self-punishment. At his college, a girl named Lola asks Brent to be her date for the upcoming prom dance, but he declines because he has already made plans to attend with his friend Holly. Later, Holly drives Brent close to his home and drops him off midway. While walking back, Brent tells Holly that Lola had invited him to the prom. When he arrives home, Brent's mother asks how he plans to get to the prom dance. He tells her he's going with Holly in her car. His mother suggests renting a car instead, believing that a trained driver would be safer. She is overly cautious because, ever since her husband's death, she has been emotionally distressed. She also partially blames Brent for the accident and is hesitant to let him drive. Upset by the conversation, Brent leaves the house. Brent takes his dog and heads to a hilltop, contemplating suicide. However, instead of going through with it, he simply sits and listens to music. After a while, his mother calls him, and just as he is about to answer, someone sneaks up from behind and knocks him unconscious. The kidnapper drags Brent to a truck and drives away. Later, Brent's mother, worried about her son, goes to the hilltop to search for him, as she knows it's his usual spot. Despite her efforts, she doesn't find him. Meanwhile, Holly gets ready for the prom dance and knocks on Brent's door. At that moment, Brent's mother arrives, frantic and asking Holly if she knows where Brent is. Holly, however, is unaware of his whereabouts. Desperate, Brent's mother calls their neighbor Paul, who is also a police officer, to report Brent missing. But Paul doesn't take the situation seriously, as Brent has a history of disappearing like this before. When Brent's mother tells Paul that someone attacked their dog, he takes the situation seriously. The dog was brutally beaten. While Holly rushes to take the dog to the hospital, it tragically dies on the way. In the next scene, the truck carrying Brent is shown driving along a road. A dead animal lies in the middle of the road, and the truck driver picks it up. The truck then stops in front of a house where Lola and her father Eric live. It is revealed that they were the ones who kidnapped Brent. Inside the house, Lola is sitting in her room. Eric enters, bringing her a dress. She changes into it right in front of him while he watches her disturbingly. When Brent regains consciousness, he finds himself tied to a chair, unable to move. Lola and Eric sit in front of him, and another woman named Bright Eyes is also present. Bright Eyes has a strange mark on her forehead. Brent struggles to escape, but the chair is tightly secured. The father and daughter have set up their house to resemble a prom dance venue, celebrating their twisted version of the event. They kidnapped Brent because he refused Lola's invitation to the actual prom. Lola injects peroxide into Brent's throat using a syringe, paralyzing his vocal cords so he cannot scream. Eric then takes a photo of Lola, Bright Eyes, and Brent. Despite posing for the picture, Lola seems visibly uncomfortable around Bright Eyes. It is implied that Bright Eyes was also a previous victim and is not actually Lola's mother. During dinner, Bright Eyes refuses to eat, leading Lola to force-feed her aggressively. Afterward, Lola approaches Brent and attempts to feed him chicken. When he refuses to open his mouth, she taunts him by saying it's delicious KFC chicken. Brent remains unresponsive. Frustrated, Eric picks up a hammer and smashes it on the table with force. Lola uses this as intimidation, asking Brent questions. Every time Brent hesitates, Eric slams the hammer down harder. To avoid further intimidation, Brent is forced to nod in response. At one point, Lola makes a disturbing demand. She orders Brent to lick her finger. With Eric looming over him with the hammer, Brent obeys. Later, Brent claims he needs to use the toilet. Instead of allowing him to go, Lola empties a glass and demands that he relieve himself in it. In reality, Brent doesn't need to use the toilet. He's just trying to find an opportunity to escape. Eric then approaches Brent with a hammer and says that he killed Brent's dog using both the hammer and nails. After that, Eric brings out a nail and warns Brent that if he doesn't relieve himself within 10 seconds, he will drive the nail into him. Both the father and daughter start counting backward. Forced into submission, Brent has no choice but to comply. However, in an act of desperation, Brent kicks Lola, causing her to fall backward. Taking advantage of the moment, Brent frees himself from the chair and tries to escape. He runs outside and hides under their truck. Eric immediately chases after him, starting the truck. As he reverses the vehicle, he spots Brent beneath it. Eric then goes into a frenzy, attempting to run Brent over. At the last moment, Brent quickly climbs up a tree, narrowly avoiding death. The truck crashes violently into the tree. Just then, Lola arrives, and the two of them start throwing rocks at Brent. One of the rocks hits Brent's head, causing him to fall unconscious. They drag him back inside the house, tie him to the chair, and brutally drive knives into both of his feet to prevent any further escape attempts. Meanwhile, Paul, the police officer, continues his search for Brent near the hilltop. Though he doesn't find Brent, he discovers his phone and earphones. Paul then takes them to Holly and Brent's mother. In the next scene, Lola shows Brent a scrapbook. As Brent flips through it, he realizes that Lola has been doing this for a long time, kidnapping boys, celebrating her twisted version of the prom dance, and eventually killing them. It becomes evident that Brent is not her first victim. Lola's mad father had been kidnapping boys for her since she was a child. After dancing with them, she would kill them. Even if Brent had accepted her prom invitation, his fate would have remained the same. Lola then points to a photo of a boy named Timmy Valentine in the scrapbook, saying that he managed to escape from her. Brent realizes with shock that Timmy was the bloodied boy who had stumbled in front of his car the day his father died. This revelation makes Brent understand that his father's death was not caused by Timmy, but by Lola and Eric. Timmy was a victim trying to escape. It is also revealed that Timmy was the son of Paul Valentine, the police officer. Lola's scrapbook has a specific section labeled for this year's target, Brent. His photo is displayed there, but there is still an empty space reserved for a painting. Lola and Eric plan to add Brent's painted image to the book. As Lola starts painting on Brent's body, Eric proudly watches her. Lola draws a large heart on Brent's chest and writes the initials LS inside it. It is revealed that Lola has done this to all her previous victims. The initials stand for Lola Stone. After drawing the painting on Brent's chest, they pour salt over it. The salt causes Brent excruciating pain, far worse than before. Following this, Eric proudly announces Lola as the prom queen. In Lola's twisted world, she is crowned the queen among all the imaginary girls, making it a grim celebration. They force Brent to blow a whistle as part of the celebration. Then, Eric crowns Lola as the queen of the year and takes their photo once again. Lola and Eric start dancing to celebrate, while Brent remains tied to the chair with the knife still lodged in his feet. Lola initially dances with Brent, but she doesn't enjoy it. Instead, she decides to dance with her father, seeing Eric as her real prince. They retrieve the animal carcass they had taken from the road and begin to butcher it. Then, they open a secret basement door. Strange and unsettling sounds echo from below. Eric brings out a toolbox and hands Lola a drilling machine. Without hesitation, Lola uses it to drill a hole into Brent's forehead, mirroring the scar that Bright Eyes has on her forehead. Lola plans to take it further by pouring boiling water into the hole she drilled, intending to boil Brent's brain. This would leave him brain dead, turning him into a lifeless, obedient version of Bright Eyes. Just as Lola and Eric prepare to pour the water, they find the hole too small. Eric decides to widen the hole. But before he can proceed, Brent suddenly uses a hidden razor blade, the one he had secretly used to free himself from the ropes earlier. With the blade, he violently attacks Eric, stabbing him multiple times. Brent then pulls out the knives from his feet, enduring the immense pain. In the chaos, Eric is overpowered, and Brent pushes him into the basement. Inside the basement, a horrifying scene unfolds. Several zombie-like captives, previous victims of Lola and Eric, swarm over Eric's body, viciously devouring him. Brent watches in shock and horror. Just then, Lola arrives and, consumed by rage, pushes Brent into the basement as well. She looks at her father's lifeless body and breaks down, screaming in madness. Afterward, she slams the door shut, trapping Brent inside. While struggling in the basement, Brent finds a torchlight. The moment he turns it on, the basement's terrifying captives lunge at him. Brent, in a desperate bid to survive, fights back and kills them all. The basement floor is littered with bones from past victims. Meanwhile, Lola, consumed by anger and grief, kills Bright Eyes. Elsewhere, Holly recalls how Brent had previously mentioned that Lola had invited him to the prom. She immediately calls Paul and informs him about it. Paul, realizing the gravity of the situation, rushes to Lola's house. Upon arrival, he notices a large amount of blood through the partially open door. Without hesitation, he breaks down the door and storms inside. At that moment, Brent realizes that someone has arrived. He immediately starts making noises to grab attention. Paul hears the sounds and understands that Brent is inside. Paul quickly opens the basement door and sees Brent. Just then, Lola arrives. Without any hesitation, she attacks Paul with a tool and kills him. She then pushes his body into the basement. Brent manages to grab Paul's gun and tries to shoot Lola. However, she dodges the bullets, causing them all to miss. With all the bullets wasted, Brent is left defenseless. Lola, now furious, threatens Brent. She tells him that she will go to his house, kill his mother, just like she killed his father, and also murder Holly. After making her threats, she leaves the house. Since Lola doesn't know how to drive, she starts walking away. Meanwhile, Brent comes up with a plan. He stacks the dead bodies in the basement, forming a pile to climb and escape through the basement opening. In the next scene, Holly is seen driving towards Lola's house. On the road, she encounters Lola. When Lola sees Holly, she throws her scrapbook at Holly's car windshield. Startled, Holly immediately slams on the brakes. Taking advantage of the situation, Lola gets into the car and attacks Holly. After a struggle, Holly manages to escape from the car. At the same time, Brent finds Paul's car and drives it at full speed toward the area where Holly and Lola are. Suddenly, Holly runs into Brent's path, but he manages to stop the car just in time, saving her. However, Lola is not as lucky. She gets hit by the car. Holly, still shaken, quickly gets inside the car with Brent. Seeing Brent's injured state, she becomes terrified. When they both look back, they see Lola, despite her broken bones, crawling towards them with a terrifying determination. Without wasting any time, Brent shifts the car into reverse and drives it at full speed, running over Lola. This time, she is finally killed. Afterward, Brent reunites with his mother, bringing an end to his horrific ordeal. This marks the end of the movie. Thank you for watching our movie recap. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing for more great content. Your support means a lot to us. Have a wonderful day.